the light cool? I mean, it's kind of got a shadow in there, but you good?
Yeah, we're straight. We're good. Here we go.
Truthseeker and or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the Truth Seeker podcast.
Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark's at it.
Streaming live at truthseeker.com.
She's not a Christian.
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark's at it stuff.
And now, your host, Truth Seeker.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Truth Seeker podcast. I'm your host, Truth Seeker. Excited and delighted to be with you guys tonight with this impromptu episode. So looking forward to speaking with my guests this evening and getting into some spiritual conversation with you guys. Can't go any further until I say thank you to everyone who makes this podcast possible, everybody who's been supporting my work, my music, the podcast, everything that I'm bringing to the table via Patreon. Thank you guys for the continued support. Give a quick shout out to some of the newest patrons here really quick. I want to give a shout out to Mintaka, Crystal Gon, Jill Trango, Zeely, and that's it for this last week. Thank you guys for coming aboard. Welcome to the team. If you would like to support, head on over to patreon.com/TruthSeeker. There you get access to my entire discography, which is like 10 plus albums. All the new music that I'm putting out, it's available on Patreon as soon as it's done. You also get access to the School of the Mystics, which is our Thursday night community session that we're doing here, doing courses together, getting into prayer, activation, things like that. So if you're looking for community, join us every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central via the School of the Mystics. You get access to all that stuff by checking out my Patreon page. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest, Khujo Goodie from Goodie Mob, a legend. Brother, what's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Oh man, what's up, Truth Seekers? How y'all doing, man? It's a pleasure and an honor, man. A pleasure and an honor, man, to be talking about something real for a change. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man. There's a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Hands down, I mean, you know what I'm saying, the music speaks for itself, standing the test of time. It's awesome, man. I'm bringing my daughter to school. You know what I'm saying, 12, 13 years old, listening to Goodie Mob in the morning. And she's telling me, hey, we need to listen to Goodie Mob in the morning. 12, 13-year-old, you know what I'm saying, introducing that music to a new generation. And there's something different, man. I'll just say this, just as quick spark, man, is the fact that creating something, bringing it to the table that has longevity. And you guys did that and are doing that. So kudos on that, man. Honor and privilege to talk to you guys.
Man, appreciate that, man. Well, this year makes the 20th anniversary of Still Standing. So we're going to re-release that album this year and maybe put some new music on that record. So, I definitely got to give shouts out to the Goodie Mob for making a historic album like that, man. We didn't we were so innocent. But by the time that first album was done, Still Standing was kind of like self-explanatory. You feel what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
for them to pick that particular album and not the Soul Food album and not a World Party album and not a One Monkey album and not any other album, it speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that album was kind of like the year of rebellion, man. It's kind of like when we kind of realized what was going on, especially in the music industry, and dealing with the type of group that we were. We were a different group, especially coming out the South.
Yeah.
And speaking on things that we did speak on, you know, people were wondering, man, you know, what kind of rappers are these guys? So I'm just thankful to be a part of that Still Standing album, man. And that was a real hard album, man. Real hard album.
Yeah. Stands the test of time. You know,
Yeah.
you hear so much music on the radio these days, you know what I'm saying? And it's singles, people are getting their money, but and we could call names or whatever, but you can hear a single, you can hear Laffy Taffy, like, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people riding around listening to you know what I'm saying, that song today, which, what was it, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, that was like the #1 song on,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying, on the radio and all that kind of stuff. And even some of the newer stuff it's catchy, but it doesn't have the longevity, man. And you know what I'm saying, for the longevity, that speaks volumes.
Right, man. It's, you know, it's an equation to longevity, man. And it's about loving what you're doing.
Yeah.
And doing it for a purpose. Because when we did them records, man, we weren't thinking about really making no money like that, man. We weren't thinking about none of that. We was thinking about putting down the best material that we could at that time and capture the things that were going on in our neighborhood and kind of like throw a little political twist on it, man, but still keeping it grassroots. You know what I'm saying? And not going beyond, you know what I'm saying, beyond the Call of Duty, just kind of staying in that pocket. So man, like I said, man, it's an honor to be a part of a group like Goodie Mob, man. And it speaks volumes, man, because a lot of people come up to me, man, they like, man, y'all raised us, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That's mind blowing, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of good music out here that people can grab hold to and you know what I'm saying, take something from that and live their life by it. But somebody come to us and say, man, y'all raised us, man, that's a lot right there, man. That's huge.
It's a connection there, man. So what about when you have like the older generation who are supposed to pour into the younger, even with hip hop as well? They think that like some of the old heads or whatever, because there's this disdain there right now between the mumble rappers and the stuff we hear coming out now versus the old heads or whatever the case is. And some of them lash out, some of them are mad that hip hop
Right.
is, you know what I'm saying, evolving, but some people feel a sense of responsibility. Like, look, man, we're supposed to kind of, you know what I'm saying, give these young guys the game. Do you feel that responsibility as well?
Well, yeah, I do, especially if a young artist asks for your advice.
Okay.
You know, especially if he asks for your advice, man, and it's, you know, it's up to you to give him a good person. You know what I mean? A person that wants to give the younger generation some wisdom would tell them like, look, man, keep your publishing. Don't never sell your publishing. You know what I'm saying? Publishing gonna follow you from this first album, this first record to your last record. That's how you get paid off of your music in the industry. You know what I mean? And you got to have a publishing company, and you got to be a part of a BMI or ASCAP. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's a lot of, especially in the South, man, it's a lot of MCs that can rap down here. I mean, double time, triple time. I'm talking about different slang. I mean, just doing it, man. But the thing about it is, it's only in our genre of music, though. You don't hear nobody in country music. You don't hear Willie Nelson dissing one of the youngest country artists that's coming up. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't seen it. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I will say this: there is a little dissension there between the what they call hip hop. So they say like the old school country, like your you know what I'm saying, Merle Haggard's and all these guys, that old school backwoods country. Now there's doing what they call the hip hop, where they're they're mixing a lot of hip hop in with the country. So some of the old heads even is kind of bleeding into that as well there with the country. Yeah.
So I'm saying, are they getting with the hip hop? Are they getting with that? The old country head
They don't have a
getting with.
choice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, I can understand that, man. Especially now, if you changing country to something else,
Yeah.
I can see where that would be an issue with the pioneers
Yeah.
of that particular genre, because now you're turning it into something. You're messing it with something now.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
that's how country is anyway. It's rap.
Mm-hmm.
It's rap over different type of instruments. You feel what I'm saying? And
Oh,
you
yeah.
got the majority of white boys doing the country.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Who came up
coming
on
from-
Goodie Mob? You know what I'm
It's
saying?
okay though, but it took me a minute to understand
Yeah.
that genre of music, man. I mean, I can remember sitting at home seeing Conway Twitty commercials coming on TV. That his album is out. You feel what I'm saying? Where you're able to see, I was exposed to that in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I just like I say, our genre of music, man, it's got some type of tainting, corrupt ruin going on with it, man, because it's not going anywhere. You know, it's people are being able to do shows and be on Instagram with stack phones. You know what I mean? I mean, got millions of followers. You know what I'm saying? So a young cat might think I'm hating on him. You feel what I'm saying? But experience always, I think, overcomes youth. Because you still got people out here that's touring, hadn't put an album out in years. Frankie Beverly Mays, he's still touring, hadn't dropped a new album. So
Yeah.
like I said, I think our genre of music, it needs to be remodeled, man. It needs a makeover. It needs a makeover because the content that we're choosing to put in our music right now, and it's being spearheaded by the youth. You feel what I'm saying? So the youth, their senses hadn't been exercised enough to be like, man, to make a difference between I'm making money or I'm making money to spread bullshit to my people.
Yeah. Let me
feel
ask
me?
you this though. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm from New Orleans, right? I grew up on old school Master P, all that stuff. Like that's who
And I
raised
believe-
me essentially, right? That music was a little bit different from what you guys were doing as far as putting content in the music as well. As far as like, you know what I'm saying, the teaching people how to sell dope, teaching people how to gangbang, bragging about killing people, all this stuff versus what you guys were bringing to the table. Was there any type of disdain there between those two sides?
No, it wasn't, man. We had respect. We had respect for everybody that was in especially the 90s, up in the 90s era that came out at that time. Like, man, we went to record stores, man. You couldn't help but to see a Master P display right in front of you. You couldn't get around it. You feel what I'm saying? But he had that wisdom like Jay Prince had.
Yeah.
Come up with a record label and sign some people in his neighborhood, and you know what I'm saying, and make history about it. But we grew up in a totally different place in Atlanta, Georgia. You feel what I'm saying? The Bible Belt of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? You got James Brown from Georgia. You feel what I'm saying? You got Ray Charles born in Georgia. You got Otis Reddy born in Georgia. You feel what I'm saying? So it's that type of music was coming out of Georgia then. So it's about wanting something different, man. And we wanted to do something different at the time we made those records, man. We didn't want to sound like anybody else, and we wasn't gonna diss nobody because they didn't get what we were saying.
Yeah.
We was able to do a whole album and tour, and people were actually liking what we were saying.
Yeah.
You know, so no, we didn't have any beef, man. Matter of fact, Mystical did the remix for Dirty South for us.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And
That's
man, every time we went to New Orleans, man, Mr. Servon was cool. Everybody was cool with us, man. Mia X was cool. Everybody was cool with us, man. I was just amazed that Master P could organize that type. And I see why he was like this, an army. For him to mobilize people in his neighborhood and at least give them a chance to make a mark in this hip hop culture.
Definitely, brother.
But I don't agree with everything that that he's in the music. I don't
Yeah,
agree with.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
You gotta look at the environment that people are raised up in. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Some brothers don't have fathers. You feel what I'm saying? So they turn to the streets and be like, the streets raised me. They be happy about that. Oh, the streets raised me. You know what I mean? But the streets don't have compassion like a father would have compassion. The streets don't care nothing about you. You die, your blood is in the streets. They clean you up, then they leave it for the next man to come with the same fate.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to have you on, man. I love music. I love Goodie Mob. I love all types of music, man. And I love to discuss music, but I wanted to really have you on to discuss spirituality, man, to discuss your spiritual path, where you are now. You've always dropped a little bit of gems here and there within the music, knowledge here, knowledge there. You even talk about tactfully doing that. Like, you just can't come out with a straight truth album. It'll flop, it'll do whatever, but you just got to kind of sprinkle it through there as you're broadcasting to the nations, man. Um, Going back since the beginning, you've always dropped a little bit of jewels. Where does spirituality come into play for you in the early days to where versus where you are now, being you know what I'm saying, a lot more outspoken about your faith and what you believe in?
Man, I can't even tell you, man. I can't even tell you where that. I can't even tell you where that. Well, let me take that back.
Bring right back right there.
99.
Appreciate it.
99 is when I came into the truth, that knowing that we are the children of the book, that the book is talking about the children of Israel, the so-called Afro-American. I had that knowledge in 99.
Where'd you get that from?
Where did I get that from?
Yeah.
I got that from reading the Bible, and I got it from a teacher. So people don't realize you got to have a teacher to teach you some things, especially if a person, okay, bro, stay up, man. Especially if a person is older than you and got some age on you. And then both of you can go in and study together and look this word up together. And it ain't just he's teaching you, both of you guys are learning. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
I got an elder, man. He's about 60-something years old. We sit and we read out the book. He's also learning too. That blows me away. But you got some people that's that age, they stop learning. They don't want to hear us. Like, you got people that still think that the world is round. But our fathers in that book says that our people were going to be scattered across the four corners of the earth. So a circle doesn't have corners. You feel what I'm saying? It's just the things that we've been taught in school, and that book is a history book. And it's plenty of books that was written before that, but this book tells you about everybody else around you. And I found that interesting, that I was allowed to even understand it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a deep book.
Yeah, I've seen what that does to people, man. I was a part of the Hebrew Israelites out of Philly, Brother Ricard Shiar from the Gathering of Christ Church. And so I was studying and learning under those guys in the Light and Body of Christ Church. And so we actually came to Atlanta on several occasions and, you know what I'm saying, preached and prophesied on the street corners back in 2008, I believe it was. You know what I'm saying? We were down there doing that. When it comes to a people group who has been oppressed, who's been told you're nothing, you'll never be nothing, God has rejected you. You were born to be slaves. All of this type of stuff. You've been told this your whole life. Then you get into the scriptures and you find out, hold on, man, these people have been lying to us. We're not slaves. We're not the scum of the earth. We are the people of the book. We are the beloved of the Father. He loves us. He's anointed us and ordained us, and that's why everything that we do, people emulate it all over the world, all over the globe. Trends, all types of things. I mean, then we look at the prophecies as far as the names being erased, the curses that came upon Israel, these type of things. When you read that, man, what you know what I'm saying, goes through your mind when that stuff starts to click? That I've been told this, but I found that I'm not the tail, I'm actually the head. How does that feel when you first come to that knowledge, man?
Well, it lets me know that it lets me know that there is a creator, number one, and that the white man is not as smart as I thought he was. You feel what I'm saying? Because when you read that book in its entirety, you can't just go in the middle of the book and read it like the Christians do. That's how Christianity came along, because they cherry pick what Paul says. They don't go to the
Yeah.
Messiah and see what the Messiah had to say. They go to Paul because Paul says you're not under law, you're under grace. But they take that and run with it, especially with Black Christians. They take that and run with it, and they tell the congregation that there is no law. So you mean to tell me it's okay to kill now? It's okay to steal now? It's okay to not honor your father and your mother? It's okay to covet now? That's what you're saying that you don't have to do anymore? Okay. But especially when you get up into Deuteronomy with the curses, Deuteronomy 28, what only race of people fit those curses? The only race of people fit those curses are the ones that came over here during the transatlantic slave trade. But what people don't understand is that our fathers had slaves, but our fathers had laws for the slaves, and a certain time they let their slaves free. They didn't do us like that over here in America. Well, they did it with the Emancipation Proclamation, but we still afflicted over here in America. Just like the angel told Abraham, he said, in Genesis, he said, know of a surety that your seed will be afflicted in the land that's not theirs. This is not our land. We was brought from somewhere else over here to build up America, aka the daughter of Babylon, to build that up over here. And we're supposed to be over here for a certain amount of time, and that's 400 years. Have you ever heard about the HR 1242, HR 1242, 45? You heard of that?
Not by that name. I haven't. No.
Well, actually, what they're doing is they're commemorating the 400 years that the so-called African American been over here in America, and that's coming up next year. So you get a chance, look that up, man. HR 12, I think it's HR 1242 or HR 1245. Look that up for me, deal. Yes, sir. HR 1242. HR 1242, yeah. And that's commemorating. Now, this is white folk commemorating 400 years of our people being afflicted over here in America. But they don't read that in the Christian churches. Why? Well, they say, oh, that's that old God in the Old Testament. Yep, that's him, HR 1242. But they tell you not to read that part of the book because you might find out that you are the children of Israel. So I find that amazing, because I can read that to somebody in black and white and they don't see it.
Yeah.
So the Most High is dealing with a remnant. Only a remnant gonna return back to the land. We're 6,000 miles away from our land. And that's Jerusalem, Israel. I got a website to check out too. It's called thencci.org. You get a chance, check that out, man. It's an advanced information group, man, and they do so much research, man. Like, for instance, one of the brothers did researches on the Native American slave trade.
Yeah.
See, our people don't even know that, especially the Cherokee Indians. Cherokee Indians was one of the worst slavery that our people could be in. But you still got our people that don't know who they are. So they say, well, I'm an African. They say, well, I'm a Native American. Well, they say I'm this and they say I'm that. But these are the people that had your people in slavery. And it was a brutal slavery too. It got to the point where they was like, well, if a slave mates with an Indian, somebody got to die.
Yeah.
A Native American, somebody got to die. That's how they wanted to keep their bloodline pure. But like I said, that book is a history book, man, and we've been taught religion out of that book, and that's why a lot of our people shun away from it.
It's like a lot of people who come out of the entertainment industry hip hop artists. I mean, you know what I'm saying? A lot, it's kind of inundated with like drugs and alcohol. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look to substance to cope. There's uh, narcissism by itself can produce mental illness and like strong delusions that people are going through. You've been in it for a while. How have you been able to keep sane? Is it because you've always been a servant of the Most High? Have you always been looking into this stuff since '99? Is that kind of what's kept you through all this stuff?
Yeah, but I'm still not immune. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? To the things of the flesh. I'm not immune to it. All I could do is pray and ask the Most High to help me with these things. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's an instruction book, man. And if it's meant for you, you will take heed to it. You feel what I'm saying? If somebody read a book and it ain't got nothing to do with them, they'll be less interested in that book. Like Shakespeare, man. Boy, stop. Shakespeare for real? No,
Yeah.
I'm not. We say Hamlet. Why would I be reading Hamlet? That has nothing to do with me, right? So for a long time, people told us that everybody in the Bible was white. That's one of the lies they told us. Everybody in the Bible was white. That's not true. Then they tell us that, well, Abraham brought all the three religions in the earth. That's not true either. Abraham didn't have a religion. Abraham was considered a friend of the Most High. So that's what I'm saying. But this is how it's supposed to. How do you keep a people in slavery unless you erase their history? You feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
with the name changing in the scriptures, taking out the name of the creator, so now you got people calling him all different type names. Then you got people saying, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could just call him anything. Well, if that's the case, well, why did when Moses asked him, what should I tell the children of Israel, who sent me? He said, well, tell them I am that I am sent you. And in the Tetragrammaton, that's YHWH, which means Yahweh.
Hiya.
But the Messiah, he's going to have to come and straighten all that out. He's going to have to come and straighten that out. Say, this is the Father's name right here. This is my name right here.
It gets really weird too. Like I was a part of some camps of the Israelites, and like they wouldn't call him God. They think like you call on Jesus, you're invoking demons. Like they took it that far and said that can't cast demons out by that name. I know we've seen this stuff going on in churches, casting out of demons, people getting set free from drug addictions and things like that, right? And you know what I'm saying? They're using the name of Jesus, they're using God, those type of things, because they don't know any better, right? But when we're calling upon the Spirit of the Lord or whatever, we're calling upon the Spirit, which is, you know what I'm saying, the Spirit of truth. And I've seen people, man, they're like, they get really weird when it comes to that. And it creates a confusion at times where they don't even know what name to call upon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Ahia? Is it Yahweh Shah? Is it Jesus? Is it Yeshua? Is it Yehoshua, Yahshua, or Yeshua? Like I've seen people, it just, you know what I'm saying? But when you digging for it though, you kind of got to go through them stages though.
The guy that taught me came to Atlanta in the 70s. This is when I learned, not in the 70s, but in 99, this is when I learned the name Yahweh and the name Yahshua. These other names didn't even exist. Matter of fact, the internet wasn't even like that. I don't even think the internet was even strong like that. It's not until this internet came out to where now they throwing the names out like that and making it even more confusing. You feel what I'm saying? I got a encyclopedia Bible dictionary, and I looked up that word Yahweh, and that's the name that the Hebrews call on. Yahweh, God of the Hebrews. So I heard a lot of people use Yeshua, but Yeshua doesn't mean God's salvation. Especially when you're using the word Jesus. Now, it's in the law in Exodus. It says you shouldn't call on, you shouldn't even let, you shouldn't use God's name come out of your mouth. But you can't tell our people that because it's in the book. It's right there. And we're not going to even go a step further to even research what we even getting into. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if the Ten Commandments say keep the Sabbath day holy, well, what is the Sabbath day? Well, the Sabbath day is the seventh day of the week. Okay, well, what is the first day of the week? Sunday. Okay, so what's the deal with that? That's because the Roman Catholic Church changed that. The popes changed that. So they've been constantly changing the everlasting covenant. They've been constantly changing everything. But you can't fool the elect. You can't fool them. You're not going to tell them that the Sabbath day is the first day of the week. You're not going to tell them that. And you're not going to tell them that the only begotten son's name is a white boy's name. Especially when you get in the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew was written in Hebrew. So it was written in, that book was translated to Greek, Hebrew, and Latin. English wasn't even around. So how could a letter J even be in the mix of that if this book was written in Hebrew? So it's things like that as far as researching those things, because the book says study to show yourself approved. So we can't believe everything that these Gentiles tell us. We can't believe that it's 7, 9 planets out there. Okay, but in the beginning it says it only mentions Earth. So what's up with the rest of these planets? Why didn't the angel tell Moses that it was more than one planet or planets out there? Since the angel told him everything else from Genesis to Deuteronomy, I would think that the angel would have told him, oh yeah, it's 9 planets out there.
It gets deep, man. It gets deep when you're looking at the covenants, man. Like the other nations understood even more than they did. It seemed like they tried to change the holy days. They tried to say, look, let me give you, for example, let me give you your paycheck on Friday so that you will be buying and selling and trading on the Sabbath. You'll be going out there. I know there's stories as well where like the other nations would send traders and stuff to the other nations, to Israel, to try to get them to come outside and say, hey, we got all this stuff. Come out here, buy and sell a trade with us, because they knew that if they sinned against the Most High and broke the covenant, that the Most High would take his hand off of them, and then they could overthrow them, which essentially in the end kind of happened, and I guess kind of got us to where we are today, right?
Yeah, according to prophecy, we're supposed to be over here in America for a certain amount of time. We're supposed to be over here. Some of our people going to be worshiping gods of wood and stone. That's come true. That's prophecy. That's true already.
Hey, that's Islam and Christianity.
So what?
Would you say that's Islam and Christianity?
Well, those are
the stone being Mecca and the wood being the symbol of the cross.
Those are the two biggest denominations in the world. You got Catholics with over 1 billion, then you got Muslims with about 1 billion. So those are the two big strongholds that's in the earth right now. And they're supposed to be in the earth for a certain amount of time. Just like all empires must fall at one point in time. And it's time for America. Look at America. Look at what she's doing now. You got Obama. He came in here, the last president. Then you had same-sex marriages that went into effect. You had transgender.
He did all that right at the last hour that he was in office, man. Like he had everybody following him. Everybody was cool, but then before he left, man, he passed all types of stuff, right?
Right. And I a lot of people, he's the one that's messing with Trump. Who else got the money to do that? Trump trying to save America. He's trying to say he's a white boy. Okay? He's for his country. Just like if you go in the Middle East and you go in Turkey, they're going to be for their people first.
Yeah.
So anybody else that's in that land, it's about their people first. And that's what's going on right now in America with the presidency right now. They hadn't given that guy a chance since he won the presidency. Even though jobs are coming back, even though he got the trade going, even though it looks like he stopped Korea for doing what they doing. I mean, all this type of stuff he's doing for his country. Now, if I was a president of America, what people you think I would help first? I would help the people that need help the most. The people that's getting shot down in the street for nothing. People that's getting the police called on them for nothing. But that's a part of that 400-year affliction that the angel told Abraham in Genesis about you will be afflicted in this land for 400 years. And after that, I'm going to judge them people that afflicted you. So America she got her cake coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scripture, man, that a lot of, I mean, there's different levels to this, you know what I'm saying, Israelite thing and to this Bible prophecy thing. Just like there's different levels to the Christianity and the Catholics and the, you know what I'm saying, evangelicals and the Baptists and all this kind of stuff. Different levels to it. When you're talking about these curses, you're talking about, the scripture says, as you have led into captivity, so shall you be led into captivity. There's Israelite groups who some deem hate groups. They're out there preaching. You know, they can't wait to get them this. They can't wait to grab the white man, put a chain around his neck, and walk him around like a dog. Like all of it gets kind of crazy, right? And they're like obsessed with it, even. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other groups. There's videos. It's kind of going viral on Facebook now. I've seen this years ago, but where they put they try to get white people to go down and kiss their sneakers. Have you seen that footage?
Man, I've
And
seen
what do you
that,
think
man.
about it?
You know what I think about that? And I was listening to one of my talking to one of my elders. He's like, man, they might be funded. Somebody might be funding them for them to be able to go out there in the streets like that and cuss people out, call women hoes and bitches. You never seen the Messiah do that. Messiah
Exactly.
told his disciples, if they don't want to hear what you got to say, man, just wipe the dust off your feet and get on about your business. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that those brothers might be funded, man. Somebody might be funding them to do that because people don't know or they don't read that the Gentiles don't have a place in the kingdom too. If it wasn't for Cornelius, the keys to the Gentiles wouldn't even it wouldn't even be open for them. They wouldn't even have the keys. You feel what I'm saying? So
Acts chapter 10.
you can't be mad. You can't be mad at what Yah made these Gentiles do. Because you got some that's good. They some good. I mean, they'll run into a burning house for you, man. You might be on the side of the road. They might help you before your own folk help.
Have you seen that Lil Wayne interview when everything was going on about these hate black people, police are trying to kill black people, all this stuff, and they interviewed Wayne? Did you see that when he was like, have you seen that footage when he's talking about this? Whenever he shot himself when he was a kid.
He shot himself.
Yeah, he shot himself when he was a kid. Shot himself in the chest.
Wow.
He was in a dope house, and the police came in. They heard the gunshots. Police came in. They all jumped over Lil Wayne when he was a little kid. They jumped over him, went straight for the drugs, arresting people, trying to find the drugs. He said all the black dudes jumped over him, and it was an old white man that picked him up and said, "Hey, y'all ain't gonna do nothing about this little kid here bleeding." And he said the guy picked him up and took him to the hospital, sat with him in the hospital. He was with him the whole time. Said his name was Uncle Bob. He said, "You're talking about all this white cops hate blacks and all this kind of stuff." He said, "I don't know nothing about that." He said, I know a good ass white dude named Uncle Bob. I know that. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, the Gentiles got the law in their hearts, man. I mean, they know right from wrong. You feel what I'm saying? They know that that's the right thing to do. Here's a boy on the floor bleeding. They know that, man. Let's get this guy. Let's try to at least get him help. That's why I see why the doors have been open to them. You feel what I'm saying? Because they're helping his people. They say he that blesses Israel, they'll be blessed, right? That white boy might have a place in the kingdom, man. So some of these Israelite camps, you can't sit here and do that because The Most High said these guys are going to be here, and you can't sit here and say they're not going to be there.
It gets deep, man. Let me ask you this. So when it comes to talking about the scriptures, talking about the Bible being a history book, reading like who is the people of the book type of thinking. And we got into that when I was first, you know what I'm saying, privy to that knowledge and understanding who I am according to the scripture, learning how to study the scriptures, learning how to break them down. It changed everything for me, right? We was on this knowledge kick like crazy. Eventually, that's what everything, you know what I'm saying, began to be about, was the knowledge and breaking scriptures down and referencing things back. And I noticed that a lot of the Israelite camps weren't spiritual dudes. It was all just head knowledge. Let me break these scriptures down. This is the truth. Blah, blah, blah. When it comes to prayer, when it comes to fasting, when it comes to miracles and walking in power and anointing and things like that, they, you know, a lot of those camps scoffed at that stuff. They would make fun of you for trying to, you know what I'm saying, sit in silence and get alone with the Most High, pray and contemplate. They laughed at that kind of stuff. Where does like the spirituality aspect come in for you? Do you meditate? Do you have a spiritual practice that you found in the scriptures as well?
Man, when I can, like I said, I attend holy convocations. You know what I mean? I try to make a Shabbat. I try to make a new moon. I try to make some of the holy feast days in Leviticus. You know what I'm saying? Because during those times, the Spirit of the Most High is being poured out unto His people. You feel what I'm saying? Those are the perfect time to, if you want to get some type of understanding, those would be the time that you would, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of horror stories about camps, and every camp is not perfect. You come to my camp, you might find something you don't like. You know what I'm saying? I might go to another camp and might not find something that I don't like. You feel what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, do you believe that Yahshua is the only begotten Son of the Most High? And do you believe in, see, people don't realize that the Messiah has commandments too. He has commandments. If you go up in Matthew 5-7, those are his commandments. He says, I know Moses said about adultery, but I say, he's magnifying the law and making it honorable. But I say, if you look on a woman to do that, you committed it in your heart. So I get all that understanding from reading. I mean, I'm not a reading buff. Well, I gotta get up and read. I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to get nobody that perception that, oh, that's all he do, man, and read him on. He's this holy guy. No, you know what I'm saying? I'm still a piece of work. I'm still a filthy rag too. You know what I'm saying? It's not one righteous. No, not one. You feel what I'm saying? So the best thing I could do is pray for forgiveness in the name of Yahshua the Mashiach, and hopefully that sin would be forgiven, and I can get a chance to live the next day and learn more about what.
Let me stop you there. You said hope that it's forgiven. You think there's a difference there between hoping that your sins are forgiven versus knowing that your sins are forgiven?
No, you're right. Knowing. I put it that way. Knowing. Because it says if you turn from your wicked ways and pray toward the city of Jerusalem with your hands wide, then the Most High will forgive you. So yeah, if you're living today, yeah, you got a chance to do it. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, I appreciate that correction, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, bro. Yeah, that's different, man, because I think if you know something, like, you know what I'm saying, we're talking about knowledge, we're talking about understanding, like, we're talking about faith, we're talking about belief. People could talk you out of your faith. People could talk you out of your belief. But you can't talk me out of something I know. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can take these experiences, this encounter, this love that I have, this immense peace and joy that comes from the Father. Nobody can take that from me. You can talk me out of my faith, all types of camps and knowledge and mysteries and stuff like that. It gets hard. But when you know the Father for yourself, that's a blessing. Can't nobody take that from you, man. That's such a blessing, right?
That's right, man. Just to know that you got something better than sitting here in America. It's something that's going to be waiting for you. That old saying is something greater later. Yeah, I see what that's talking about. You want that. You want to be a part of that in that number when the Mashiach comes and set up his kingdom on the earth. Not what people saying we going off to Never Land. No, the Messiah is coming down here to reign on the earth for 1,000 years. And if you go into heaven, you're gonna miss that. You're gonna miss that. Yahshua said, "No man has ascended into heaven except he that came from heaven." Right?
Yeah.
So when Yohanan in Revelation seen the vision in heaven, he said he seen the 24 elders. Why he didn't say I seen my grandmama up there? Or you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
all these people that died, why he didn't see those people? So, man, it's about praying for understanding, man. And like Deuteronomy says, man, this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
Yep.
So if you don't have this law, it's the 10 Commandments and some of the dietary laws in Leviticus, if you don't have those laws in you, what nation is going to look at you and say that you're great? We're not. You don't see our people. What black person you see at the UN talking for us? Nobody. The only person did that was Malcolm X. He was the only person that went to the UN and was like, "Look, y'all treating these black people in America, man, like dogs." He was the only one that went to the UN to do that. Nobody else is standing up for our people in this earth right now. So it's an affliction right now. It's about surviving the affliction right now. It's about that, because people think that death, that's it. No, it's not. It's not. You actually sleep until judgment. You're not going to get judged before everybody else. No, everybody's going to get judged at the same time. So you just sleep until it's time for that judgment. So death is not the end.
One of the things, man, we like to talk about to talk about spiritual encounters, spiritual experiences, whether it be with the angelic realm, whether it be with in the dark forces, even, man. Have you ever had any encounters where something crossed over, whether it was, I'm saying, growing up in the South, in the Bible Belt, man, all kind of stuff goes on down here. You see shadows, you see ghosts, anything like that, UFOs, like anything of the extrasensory perception.
I had never seen a UFO. I had never seen an angel, even though when they appeared to men in the Bible, to people in the Bible, holy men in the Bible, they appeared as men and they didn't have wings. You feel me? So no, I had never seen anything like that, man, because like I said, some of that stuff is mysticism and spiritualism. Some of those things that those nations were practicing in the land before we got in there. So you had these different type of nations that were in the land. They were practicing voodoo. Yeah. They were practicing magic. They were sacrificing kids to Molech. They was doing all those type of things. And the Most High was saying, I don't want you to learn that type of stuff from them. They still doing it to this day in different countries. So I'm finding out that those Hittites, Hivites, Jebusites, all those Vites, those are what you would call Africans today. Ham.
Right, this in Santeria, all that kind of
all that kind of stuff, man. Yeah,
causing the children to pass through the fire, what the scripture says, right?
That's what it say, right? And man, you do that when you go to a church that's not teaching you the name of your creator, and you getting baptized in a name that you don't even know about. That's like going through the fire also. So Molech, he was nothing but another name for Satan at the end of the day. All throughout that book, Satan changed his name from Molech to Ashtaroth to all those other gods. But the Most High name stays the same throughout the whole book, doesn't it? Even if they got Lord and God in there, it stays the same throughout the whole book. But you got the adversary of the devil, who is an angel. It's calling itself Molech, Ashtaroth, Baal Peor, all those other gods that the nations worship, and our people were in the land with them and started taking on worshiping their gods until the Most High had to put that whip on them and make them realize, look, man, how can you do that? I'm the one that brought you out of Egypt, not these fake gods that you sending your children through the fire. I brought you out of Egypt.
I'm remembering that covenant, man. When it comes to music, brother, can we expect anything coming
Well,
soon?
I just dropped the single. It's called Y'all Fights, man.
Okay.
You get a chance, check that out, man. It's produced by Cassius Clay out of Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says, y'all fights my battle. I can't trust 911. When I pray in Yahshua's name, my enemies scatter and run. Right? So you got all through that book, when the children of Israel cried out to the Most High, he fought the battles for them. You feel what I'm saying? But you got in these other religions, like Islam, you got to kill for Allah. You feel me? You got to,
right.
why Allah,
Christianity, yeah.
you have to, a flesh man is to kill for a spirit. So y'all fights my battles, man. It's got a lot of information in that song, man. I'm giving Bible references in there, man, especially about our people, man, being how it's a law in Deuteronomy 23:17. It's a law telling our people that you're not supposed to be whores. You're not supposed to be sodomites. But you got our people want to out sodomite the sodomites. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff going on, man. And when people talk like this, they say that, you know what I'm saying, you're a hate group and you this and you that. Yeah, you might say that, but the truth is the truth, man. The truth is the truth. You brought the Most High's people over here in America and you treat them like dog meat. You treat them worse than dogs. They build up America for you. You treat them worse than dogs. But the Most High know what he was doing. He put us in a stronghold. He put us over here. You got 3 tribes in America. You got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You got his princes, you got his priests, and you got his mighty men over here. His warriors. So have you noticed nobody has really attacked America? Nobody has really dropped bombs over here in America like that. I mean, like having war over on this soil.
Yeah.
But it's got to be something special about the people that you got in America that's allowing that to happen.
You heard of Dr. Malachi Z. York? Was a lot of stuff out of Atlanta. They had a compound called Tamaray, north of Atlanta.
I heard that name before. I think they used to make some paperback books back in the day. Yeah. I seen that, man. I was trying to get into that, man, and I'm just thankful I came into the truth. The guy was talking about a lot of wild stuff, man.
Well, trying to say that he was Melchizedek
Oh,
reincarnated.
come on. Whoa. That's big. That's big. And then plus he's talking about a planet outside of Earth called Nibiru.
Nibiru is a big one. It's kind of like, just a little thing when something starts catching fire, like everybody jumps on it. And it happens like that in the churches now. The churches are talking about the Illuminati and all of this stuff too. When we were going into churches years ago talking about Illuminati, they try to run us up out of there. Now, your everyday Sunday sermon could be about the Illuminati and the New World Order. Now it's like common knowledge or whatever. Like they kind of jump on something once it kind of becomes a hot topic. 2012, Nibiru, all that kind of stuff. Remember that? So
they don't read the law and the prophets. They don't read the Gospels. All they read is Paul. So they're going to have something else to excite the congregation. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have people in there catching the Holy Ghost, but not one person in that book catches the Holy Ghost like Black Christians catch the Holy Ghost. When Christ got baptized and the Holy Spirit aboded on him, it didn't say he ran around shouting, you know what I'm saying, doing what people do in the Black Christian church. That's not what he did. All thing he did was came up out the water. That's it. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't running around he wasn't running around the water where it wasn't none of that. So all Black Christians know is what the white Christians taught them. That's all they know. That's it.
Let me ask you about this. What do you think about the allegory of the book? Like if the Old Testament was meant to be allegory for us to understand, like we're reading about ourselves. I know you when we're talking about it being a history book, we're reading about it like the historical King David setting up these kingdoms and Job and all these people. But what about this? Because we know that there's power in these stories. Like if we read them and we understand that, we got idols and idolatry that tries to come in our heart. We got giants that we gotta face on a daily basis sometimes. All of these things. So I think as we're reading a lot of those books, man, I can't help but think that we're reading about ourselves as well, man. Do you feel like that when you're reading, like, what I'm saying, the spiritual aspect of the scriptures?
Man, yeah. Once, like I said, once I had a teacher that taught me this is how you read this book. I got a King James Schofield study Bible. So this Bible gives me dates, it gives me references, it gives me precepts where this is mentioned in this particular book. For instance, like Isaiah, when we talk about allegory, Isaiah, that whole book is kind of couched in agricultural terms. You feel what I'm saying? You got the vineyard, you got the branch, you got all those things that relates to agricultural terms. And plus that book was found intact in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So I'm like, this book tells you about the Messiah. This book tells you about the kingdom that's coming. That book tells about how the empires came upon our people and why they came upon our people. That book says a lot. It's an apocalyptic book. So, and the thing, like I said, man, I love that book, man. It's a big book. I think it got 66 chapters in it. But Isaiah, man, he one of those big prophets, man, that lets you know, man, what's going on. And it mentions the destruction of America in there. Especially, I think it's Isaiah 13 and 14.
It's
So,
deep, man.
yeah, man, it's deep. And those people, our fathers wrote that book. And those words are over 2,000 years old. So you're going to need a reference on the side. I got a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance.
Yeah.
And I look up those words because the translator put words in there because that's what they did. But when you look deep into it, you see a lot of things, man. It reveals a lot of things. But the spirit of truth have to take you through that. If you're not searching for the truth, you're not going to care about what that book is talking about. All you're going to say, white man wrote that book.
Yeah.
And all you're going to say is,
keep everybody in check. He actually
right,
rebelled against the government. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they say that the government put the book together. That book does it called it slavery. But if that's why do they make the president swear on that book then? If this is just such a haphazard book, why do they make the presidents put their hand on that book? And you go in court, even though they're gonna lie their ass off, but why do they make you swear on this particular book? Why isn't it a Quran? Why isn't it the Talmud? Why isn't it some?
I mean, that's one thing about all the other religions and stuff that kind of gives some validation to Christ or to the scriptures is the fact that all these other religions are trying to claim Jesus. Like he's mentioned of in the Quran. If you go to India,
Right.
they got shrines built to Jesus and his mother, and they say he traveled there and studied. All these other, you know what I'm saying, nations have these different records that this guy existed and even traveled here at some point. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of reassuring too, right?
But man, it's a great story, and the nations want to be a part of that story. You got right now, you got the Christians saying that God cast his people away and chose them now.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Apparently you hadn't read the covenants. So you got people saying, well, are you in covenant with God? Are you in covenant with God? Do you even know what a covenant is? Do you even know who the covenants were made out to? At Mount Sinai, there wasn't nobody out there but the children of Israel. There were no Gentiles out there. There were no Hamites out there. It was the children of Israel. So let me ask you this question: when the Ten Commandments were given to the children of Israel at Mount Sinai, where were white people at? What were they doing? If we receiving instructions from heaven saying thou shalt not kill, stuff like that, saying honor your father and your mother, saying don't take the name of the Most High in vain, we getting instructions like that from heaven. Where are you guys at? Where are you guys at? So we are responsible, especially the ones that know, for teaching the nations, man, about what's going on.
With that being said, bro, if we can end out with this. If there is a young hip hop artist watching this, somebody just starting out,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They have a skill, they have a talent. What would you say to them to encourage them or to stay on the right path? And better yet, what would you say to a young Khujo if you could speak to yourself at 13, 14 years old?
Wow. I would say, man, research. I would say research the people that put music out in Georgia before you. Because at the time, I didn't know Ray Charles was out of Georgia. I didn't know James Brown was out of Georgia. I just liked the music. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely do some research on this music industry and figure out, how do I get paid in this music business? How do I get paid, man? So definitely research this industry, man, and look at the pros and cons of it.
Khujo, I appreciate you coming on talking with me, man. Let people know where they can check out latest stuff that you're putting out. I know you go on Instagram live and all that kind of stuff. Let people know where they can follow you on social media as well. Keep up with you.
So right now, man, I got music at khujogoodie.bandcamp.com. That's the best way to get the music from me, because I noticed that, man, iTunes, man, they be robbing you, bro. They rob you, man. They rob you, man. You get more of your money. Well, I get more of my money from Bandcamp, khujogoodie.bandcamp.com. But it's definitely being streamed on all platforms. So I've been dropping some jewels, man, since December 2017. So y'all check me out, man. I'm on YouTube.com/Khujo Goodie. And you always can check the Goodie Mob out at Goodie Mob at Instagram.
Brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything that you've brought to the table, everything that you're doing, and pushing righteousness out there, man. I appreciate you coming on, hanging out with me, bro.
I'll let me, man, anytime, man.
Shalom, shalom, peace.
Shalom.
Khujo Goodie of the legendary Goodie Mob, ladies and gentlemen. My daughter was a 11, 12-year-old white kid going to school every morning, listening to They Don't Dance No More. Get rich to this. You know what I'm saying? So it's awesome that I'm able to kind of introduce her to that music. I introduce her to a lot of my music, but she doesn't like all of it. But she definitely likes the Goodie Mob. So, man, shout out, man. Introducing this stuff that has music that has longevity to it, right? Music that has substance to it. I mentioned listening to Laffy Taffy. I mean, how many of us were snap dancing, lean with it, rock with it? How many people was listening to that music? I don't know how long ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't know. That stuff was so popular. They came, made a lot of money. They got their money and left. But there's no longevity to it. Like, you're not gonna find anybody riding down the street today listening to Lean With It, Rock With It, Take the Laffy Taffy, that kind of stuff. You're not gonna find nobody. That's old, it's laughable, you know. But I'm really reading the comments. Grim says he still listens to it. You never played it in Discord, sir. Anyway, so we could come a little bit closer, man. Even like stuff that look at Panda by Designer, huge song. You still hear some people listening to it, but a lot of that stuff is here today, gone tomorrow. Let's look at the legendary stuff. The majority of the stuff that came out of Atlanta, man. The majority of the stuff from Goody Mob and Outkast, right? For me, it's Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff that has longevity, that you can listen to it. It's gonna continue to survive. It's classic music, and there's a that it stands the test of time. I believe it does. Beautiful stuff. He's talking about I tried to get him to talk about UFOs and chariots. I didn't want to break it down. Everybody was asking about the popping sound and noise and stuff. I think that my mic was feeding back through his phone, popping when I would talk. So hopefully that wasn't too bad for you guys. Talking about UFOs and chariots. I was gonna break it down for him and let him know about, you know, the chariots in the Bible, you know, and there's a lot of I didn't know where he was. There's a lot of Israelite groups. The majority of them actually believe that the chariots in the Old Testament were what we call UFOs, or what they like to call IFOs, identified flying objects, that those were the cloud by day and the fire by night that led the Israelites, the children of Israel, through the wilderness. A lot of people believe that, you know, and the word for Merkaba or Merkaba is the word chariot. It's a Hebrew word, Merkaba, and it means vehicle. Simply what it means. Doesn't mean a horse-drawn chariot. A lot of instances in the Bible with these chariots flying and carrying in the mountains and things like that. So didn't know if he knew anything about that. I just wanted to mention it to him. Said he didn't have any spiritual encounters, no demonic, no angelic, no UFOs. I like to pick people's brains about this stuff, man, just to see what it was that kind of got them there, into their faith or into what they believe in, and just kind of roll ideas off of one another type deal. Talking about the law, man, being really drawn to the law of the Lord, right? The law, the 10 Commandments and laws of Moses. And then talking about, he said Christ gave some extra commandments, some new commandments, but then the scriptures go far to say, I don't give to you anything new. I'm just summarizing the old. And Jesus like really broke down that those laws in the Old Testament, it was all hung, it all hung upon love. Loving the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, strength, your understanding, whatever you can do to bring forth love. All of that stuff. If you love God, you'll honor him. If you love your wife, you're not going to covet another man's wife. If you love your body, here is the dietary laws. Put this in your body. If you love yourself, if you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, take care of your temple, eat this, don't eat that, for good reason. Not because God is mean or Yahweh is mean, or he just wants you to be different. He wants you to be holy, which means set apart and different. But that's not why. It's because he understands that there's a reasoning behind it. Operating in love, loving your body. You know what I'm saying? Loving, and then it says, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. And it says these two, if you do these two, you've kept the whole law. All these scriptures, all those laws that are so strenuous, and we got to learn them and we got to get to the bottom of it. We don't know nothing about that stuff. All that's brand new to us. And so he says that I'll write the law upon your heart, and understanding that when you steal, look, I got to trick these people, sneaky. Your conscience bears witness with the law. The law is written upon your heart. You can look at nature and see the law of God, right? That there's a creator. So that's the beautiful thing with it, man. So the law is beautiful, but it's about love, man. And if you're walking in love, you're keeping that law. That's deep, too deep for some people who are like, no, because like you could say what you're doing that other people aren't doing. And the majority of Messianic people, the majority of Jewish people, like all they're doing is not eating pork, not eating shellfish, and they don't go to church on Sunday. They just go on Saturday. But in their mind, it could produce like a sense of self-righteousness. You'll see that in a lot of those people, man. And I'm speaking from experience. I've been there. I'm only speaking from experience. But yeah, the law is love, man. If you love your body, if you love your neighbor, you're not going to steal from your neighbor. Like, you love your neighbor, you're not going to go in their tool shed or go up in their house when they're gone and steal stuff. So you're going to be walking in love, keeping all the commandments naturally. So, man, talking about creating, been fascinated about us, even as artists. I got to talk to a legendary artist about creating music, creating anything, man. I think that I've been saying this a lot lately if you listen to my show, but I think that's the highest form of worship. It's for us as being created in the image and likeness of that creator, that when we create stuff that didn't exist, something that didn't exist, when we create it, we breathe life into it, just like he did. Breathe life into this object, this idea, this music, this painting, this event, whatever it is, man. Inventing something, creating it, breathing life into it, something that didn't exist until you put your finger upon it. That's beautiful. I think it's the highest form of worship, man, when we can create something and look at it and be happy with it, especially if it's something beautiful, something that changes people's lives, something that encourages people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's no law against that, man. And I don't care what it is, just creating stuff, especially stuff that's beautiful. So, yeah, man. Really enjoyed this episode. Kind of an impromptu show, and got to talk to a legend, man. And tomorrow's the first day of school. I'm bringing my daughter to school in the morning. Definitely gonna be listening to Goodie Mob. Definitely gonna be listening. And it's crazy, man. The things that God will do, man, to bless you beyond your wildest dreams. When I don't know how old I was when I listened to that. Man, how old was I when that came out? I was a little kid. Like, I was probably 11, 12 years old listening to that stuff. Now I'm interviewing these people. Like, I'm having face-to-face conversation. It's kind of surreal. A little hard. I get choked up. It's kind of weird, right? I got to talk to Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony, my greatest rapper in my book of all time, one of them anyway. Right? There's a handful of them, but he's one of them. I got to talk to him, did a podcast with him. Like, the things that eye has not seen and ear has not heard, the beautiful things that God has in store for those who love him. Like, your dreams, your visions, man. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And that if you're faithful with it, if you don't give up, have to be consistent, see it to the end, continue to do it when other people look down upon you, when people laugh at you, scoff at you. You know what I'm saying? Fight the good fight. Keep it up, man. You can build something. You can create something. Whatever you can think, whatever you can dream, whatever you can fathom, you can create it. Blow life into it. Boom. Watch the people marvel. Especially if it's something beautiful. Something that could change people's lives, man. Encourage someone. Encourage someone who's having a bad day. Whatever the case is. Strategically, be consistent. Do it. Bring it to the table. I believe in you. God believes in you. There's love for you. Man, love it. Got another show lined up tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow. Going to be interviewing another guest. And I want to say a quick shout out, quick thank you to everybody who is supporting my work via Patreon, because I couldn't do this without you. This is a community endeavor. Like, you guys are the enablers. Couldn't do it without you. I blame you guys, for supporting me, man. This madness, whatever this is. Thank you. Shout out. Head over to patreon.com/truthseeker. There you can sign up for any level of giving to support my work. You get access to my entire discography. 200 songs. 200 songs. 10 plus albums. And I'm still creating more. Every time there's a new song released, uploaded to Patreon. There's new music there that nobody's heard on Patreon. There's going to be new music probably this week, hopefully. Check that out. You also get access to our Thursday night School of the Mystic session. That's our community gathering. If you're looking for community, if you're looking to build with like-minded people, if you like some of the things that the guests are talking about, if you like what we bring to the table here, looking for community, we're going to be doing that. Kayla is asking what time tomorrow. Kayla, I seen your your messages about wanting to catch live and everything. We go live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central. And then whenever throughout the week, I'll go live with some impromptu stuff. You can also join us afterwards if you're looking for community as well. We hang out in our Discord. That link is in the description as well. We have a Discord community of people who join together every morning. They pray, lift each other up, encourage one another, go on vacations together, all kinds of stuff. This is our community. Click that Discord link in the description if you're looking for that. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for the support. Love you guys. Peace, peace.
Your will so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine. So much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the Truth Seeker podcast, head over to truthseeker.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/truthseeker.